subscribe. Yeah, we all subscribe.
One. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Monday Moanings. I am the host, the Fat Ratman. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Chef and Emmy. Welcome in, guys. And we have a very special guest, someone I absolutely love and adore. He is an amazing fellow, Zornaph. Welcome in, mate. How are you today? Yeah, brilliant. There is a little bit of law between me and Zornaph. We, once again, for the third time this season, I've got another person who I used to work with. We just seem to like spawning out streamers in my...
No, let's set the record straight here. You worked with me. You had the patience to work with me, okay? I just basically made your life hell for a bit.
No, not at all. I'm normally like that. And I'm like, what are you doing now, Ben? Fuck's sake, what have you done? That's just me to myself. Like, for fuck. But yeah, no. Zornaph, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, about your streams, about your content that you create?
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Zornaph. I forgot my name badge. I do apologise. Swipe left or right, whatever you want. I'm a streamer on TikTok and occasionally on Twitch. I'm planning to go back to Twitch in a short while, but I just need to get my setup sorted out. There's a whole lot of stuff needing done to the house in the interim. I'm very, very fortunate that I have two jobs at the moment, both of which I absolutely love. I'm a community support worker and I'm also a musician. And the intersection between those two is I get to work with and help people who suffer from varying degrees of disability and varying degrees of dementia as well. And I think it's an absolutely fantastic job. Love it. It could be a bit better, but what you're lacking money, you make up for certainly in you know what it's all about, which is helping people. The musician side of me, I play a lot of stuff from the 1960s straight through to the 1990s. Points in between, from the cheesiest rock music you're ever going to hear, you know. I absolutely love it. I'm a father to three amazing young women. I'm married to the most patient, forbearing woman in the world. Well, I mean, 30 odd years being with me, she's got to. And yeah, I think that's really about it up until now. I'm approaching 50 from the wrong side entirely. It's really, yeah.
No. So, you know, obviously, like I said, you used to work with me along the way. You went and you've gone into care work and stuff, which I know a lot of carers myself. And I understand how hard of a job it is. I've got family members in care. I've always said I couldn't do it myself. My sister works in care for the elderly and stuff. And if my personal feelings that if I walked in and someone I'd been caring for months had passed away, I think I would just be distraught. It wouldn't. It's not. I'm happy serving customers and telling them to F off when I can, and never seeing them again. You know, like, piss off. You know?
You actually do that, Ben, then?
No. When they deserve it. When they deserve it.
When the manager ain't around.
When I was there, they only ever did it twice a day.
So, what subject have you picked for today, then, Zornaph?
What I picked, obviously, they always say go with what you know, and what I know is working within care and also the music side. And as I say, the intersection between those two things is how people with dementia, they have a very, very frightening condition. And I usually go and perform in care homes. I don't look like this. My goodness, no, that would absolutely frighten the life out of them. But when I go in, there is always at least some point where I'm going to positively affect one of the residents in there just through doing what I do. And I think it really is just to kind of bring it to the fore, to do as much as I can to kind of publicise the importance of music and the importance of actually doing a lot more research into the field of dementia itself. And I'm very, very, I mean, Ben will tell you I'm as thick as two short planks, really, you know what I mean? But it's like, so I don't really have kind of qualifications. I'm not a neurologist or anything like that, but I still have the opportunity through my second job as a musician and my first job actually as a care worker to reach out and kind of help people. And that's the most amazing part for me. the fact that I can actually reach into somebody's life, and for the hour or so that I'm there with them, actually make their life a bit easier, or for the 3 minutes or so that they're listening to a song that I'm performing, I can actually connect with them, and that's the most amazing thing ever.
So music therapy, stuff like that,
Yeah.
we're going to be
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah. So we do like to start off with a bit of a whinge, a bit of a moan and stuff like that. What is some of what are some of the negative sides you've seen doing this sort of thing? What's the worst parts to it?
The negative side of working in care is there is still very much a stigma around it, especially for guys, and there really shouldn't be. There really shouldn't be at all. There's the word working in care now. I completely understand to you, but it's what you're talking about not being able to kind of work in care for the emotional, for the emotional balance. Finding the emotional capability to be able to do the job professionally. Got to say that doesn't stop the very second it becomes your profession. Actually, what you learn to do is you learn to kind of compartmentalize it. I remember the first time I found one of the residents I was working for had sadly passed on. I was the last person to see that person at night, and I was the first person to go and find them in the morning. And I can remember very, very clearly. Obviously, I can't go into any kind of details about them due to GDPR and things like that still. But I can remember very clearly thinking, right, okay, this has happened. I'm just going to, right, what can I do? There's nothing I can do, so I'm just going to carry on with my job. And the nurse that I was working with, I was a low level care assistant, if you like. And the nurse, after about 10, 15 minutes, she said, right, okay, she said, you come with me. In the area of a care home, you will find what they used to call a sluice room. Now, a sluice room is basically where all the stuff goes to get cleaned out and macerated and everything else, right? I won't bore or bore you with the details, but, so she said, right, I walked in there and she said to me, right, okay. She said, I want every one of these plastic urinal bottles cleaned, sterilised, and I want them put through. Once you're done with them, you can do the bedpans. I know they're clean, but I want you to go through them again, right? I'm thinking, but what? I'm in the middle of a wing work. I can't. And she went, this is where you're staying just now. Get on with it, right? She slammed the door behind me and I'm thinking, right, okay, fine. Stick here then. So I started off just kind of, washing the bottles out and kind of starting the macerator up and everything else. And just, I got about halfway through and I think I dropped one of the plastic bottles. Well, that was it. Boom. It was like somebody lit the blue touch paper. There were plastic bottles flying around that room like nobody's business. Thankfully, she closed the door because they were flying all over the hall. I just lost it completely for about 5 minutes. And I was just I was absolute. It was rage, but I didn't quite know what it was then. And I got to the end of it, and of course, after about 5 minutes, I thought, right, okay, I just need to get cleared up. Fortunately, I hadn't. They were all plastic and metal bottles and stuff. I hadn't actually damaged any of it, so I kind of stored it away and got it all cleaned up. And I walked out, and she's actually standing there at the door. She went, "Okay, you okay now?" And I went, yeah, I'm fine, but I still want to know why I was put in the sluice room. And she said, come with me into the nurse's station. She closed the door and I'm thinking, oh, here we go, round two, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she said, what you've got to remember, she said, the person that you found, unfortunately, that's what happens in places like this. People pass away, right? It's our job to make sure that they have got a decent enough life in the days that they have left and they're spending with us. That's what we are here to do. We can't stop this from happening. She said, but the thing you have to remember as a care assistant, she said, that person might be gone, but you've got another 31 people that require your same professional level of care as they did yesterday and the day before and they will do tomorrow. And if you're going to show any sign of distress, they're going to pick up on it. So that's why you needed to take those 5-10 minutes out and get that out your system, because the other resident, they need your same level of care, your same level of professionalism, and they are not responsible for the passing away of the first one.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me. And I've been in the unfortunate position of residents and clients passing away, whilst I've been working with them as well. And it's always been, that gave me the ability to be able to draw the line. Now be able, that's okay, this is what I can do. I've done everything I can. And unfortunately, they've gone. I can't do anything more for that particular person. What I can do is I can help with their family, because I work in people's homes, I can help with their family, I can sit with their family, I can just say, look, I'm here as a spare pair of hands, anything you need me to do around about the house, or if you just want me to leave you as well, that's also absolutely fine. And I'm also very kind of particular about the way that I approach the families after it, because you have to be very, very aware of their emotional state at the time. They always tell you that the grieving process has 7 stages. What they don't tell you is none of that shit's linear. You don't go straight from stage 1 to stage 7. You know, 1, 2, as soon as you get 1 finished with, 2 comes up with, 2, then 2 on to 3, 3 on to 4, so on and so forth. It doesn't happen that way. What they don't tell you is, yes, there are 7 stages. They don't tell you is 1 could happen, then 7 would come up, and then number 5 would sneak in round about the back. And then before you know it, you've got 6 and 4 jumping in on you all at the same time. And I've seen that happening in a room with one particular person. And the thing that you've got to do is, as a carer or just as a person in a room, you've got to just sit there and be with them as they work it through. And that's the most difficult part of that particular part of the process. Everybody, well, saying everybody, maybe not everybody, but I think a majority of people think of carers, people who work in the care industry, as they're just here to make sure people are clean, they're here to make sure they haven't kind of wet themselves or anything like that. There is honestly so much more to it. And it's once you actually start to get into it and you actually start to kind of work your way through the entire processes that go on. I mean, I work with what is effectively an agency at the moment, and it is my job to make sure that the person is safe, is warm, has had something to eat, has had something to drink, taking their medication, has everything they're going to need, and also has company for that hour, for that half hour, for those 2 hours that I'm there with them. Again, that can be a positive side of the thing, but there's also the thing that you've got to fit all of these activities, all of these things that are necessary for the client into one particular slot of time. Sometimes it's just not doable. The other side is, as a carer, you can do the best you could, but your client's not always going to like you. And that's the thing as well. They might not be able to tell you why they don't like you. It might just be because people like people. People also dislike people. It's just human nature, and I think one of the things that I've learned over the past year is being professional enough to be able to say to my boss, look, I'm not for this person. And you move somebody else in to take over what I'm doing. And realising that it's not a carer who's being lazy, it's just a carer and a client who just don't go on.
Yeah.
And actually just saying, you know what, I'm going to step away. One of the big things for me at the moment is a person's dignity within their own home. There are so many people working in care, not within the agency that I work for, certainly. I've certainly not witnessed this in the past 4 or 5 years. But previous to that, I used to witness people coming in to work as part of a care package. And it's just a case of, right, this is what we're going to do. There's, 1, 2, 3, going through all the stages, right? We're all done, sign paper, then.
Yeah.
The client's just been moved through. It's like an assembly point. It's like, whoa, there we go. You know what I mean? And before you know it, it's a mad rush to get everything all done, which you kind of have to do, but you also have to make sure you take the time with the person. I think sometimes people don't do that. And I get that your day's busy, believe me, I know. I mean, I've got a 14-hour shift ahead of me tomorrow with different clients. I'll start at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. I won't finish till 8 o'clock tomorrow night. You know what I mean? That's just the way the job is. There are days where I could work maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, just the way it is. And I know that you've got such a lot to do in such a short space of time, but you have to be very, very client or resident focused. Unfortunately, sometimes the management don't help. They're not really there to help, if you know what I mean. They're there to kind of give you the job so you can do it.
Chef, stop it.
These guys know all about like care work, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you could say the same about management everywhere, couldn't you? I defend management wherever I've worked. People like they should be out here serving customers. It's like they have management jobs. They have to sort us lot out. They have to keep us happy so that we can keep the
back of
customers
the
happy.
scenes, isn't it? Back of the scenes actions and stuff like that.
Admittedly, I've worked in places, I won't name names, B&Ms, where the managers have just sat in the back drinking coffee, and it's literally, and they are arseholes. Calling them out here. I'll call them out.
Sock it to the man.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, management. It's when someone goes, they're not doing anything. It's like, what do you think they're doing? Sat on the computer. They're not sat there playing solitaire or Minesweeper. They're actually doing the emails they need to do, ordering stuff they need. We need to do our jobs. I don't know how it works with care and stuff like that, but certainly with the customer service jobs that I've done, it's what they've had to do. And it is. I think management jobs can be just as hard as the jobs underneath them, because they do have a lot of people going, "This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong," from above, and then below, even going, we'll be going, "This is wrong. This is wrong. What you're doing, you messed up my wages. You messed up my holiday." So they're like, "Ugh." Then obviously shit rolls downhill, and they go, "F off you. Fuck off out of my office."
Yeah.
So it can be hard on them. Yeah.
I mean, again, we see it a heck of a lot. And I get that the management get it for it's basically it's the management's job to liaise between the higher ups and the guys on the shop floor. It is absolutely there. The problem that a lot of people have working on the shop floor is they possibly don't get it. It's like let them do what I'm talking about. I mean, we're a relatively small team. There's maybe about 30 of us in the team, and we covered quite a right old area of it. So if anybody calls in sick, it just means that we've either got to double up or somebody's got to be called in. Sometimes the management, if you're calling in sick, everybody knows that sometimes you can't help it. If it's just going to be 5 minutes before the shift, I've had to do it myself. You'll call out, I'm really, really ill, especially working in care. You can't be doing things like, well, I've just puked up a whole pint's worth into a half pint glass there, so I'll just turn into work now. Here we go.
Yeah.
You can't do it. It's an immediate 48-hour. You have to take until you're clear of your last episode. That's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. So when you're phoning, you have to phone your line manager up and just say, look, this is the situation. I have worked previously with firms who have said, well, can you not find anybody to cover it? That's what I'm talking about. That's what the glitch is to me. I'm sorry, but I'm ill. It's your job as a management person to manage that side when I'm not able to do it. You know what I mean? It's, and sometimes that can be where the conflict lies between the manager and the shop floor. Most of the managers I work with now are absolutely spot on. And
no. I might moan about management, but the place I work, as you know, I get on with all my managers. They're all actually really approachable and really nice. And I consider them friends. I can go up and say, I can go up and tell them to F off, and they'll be like, "Shut up, Ben, get out." You know what I mean? I'll say something daft or really stupid, and that's just Ben the way he is. And this is what makes good management: is just accepting the people for who they are, not judging them. Like, because I make mistakes, I fuck up all the time, and I'll hold my hand up and say that were me, and that's what they like, sort of thing. Like, yeah, you messed up.
Did they ever find that key to the beer barrel room?
Well, I might have found it.
Hey, up. What's this story then?
No, I can't.
Well, you know.
I can't tell what DDP.
So you do. So you play the music to the people that you care for and stuff, like in care homes, don't you? How do you find their reaction to it? Do they have a positive reaction, or is it?
It's one of the things that I love is that. Obviously, looking like this, I don't go in looking like this. I've got my hair tied back and I've got like a whole bunch of really kind of loud shirts and stuff like that I can wear. Completely reserved,
Yeah.
But when they see me at first, it's a case of, whoa, okay, who's this? What is this? I've never seen this. I've had worked with Richard Attenborough for the past 30 years and I've never seen an animal like that. Usually when I walk in, get everything all set up, and then you maybe start, because I do a lot of stuff from the 60s just now. There's a lot of artists from the 60s, guys like Neil Diamond. I do a lot of his stuff. Daniel Boone, guys, Healy, all those kinds of guys. And it's all stuff that they would have heard in their younger years. There is one particular story. This is a bit of a deep one for me, because there's one particular song by Neil Diamond. It's called Hello Again. And my own father, he passed away maybe about 4 years ago. And he had said to me, if you listen to the song, you'll understand what it's about. And it's basically the prefix for the entire song is making a phone call, right? And there's this bit in this now. When I played this and it was my very, very first nursing home performance. And of course, you're very, very kind of, right, okay, what am I doing? Make sure you're doing everything right and make sure everyone's nice and settled and calm and you're okay. Now, having worked in nursing homes before, I kind of knew what was, as far as people coming in were concerned. And this one particular gentleman, they took him in and he's surrounded by care assistants, and because he was very reactive. And it wasn't it wasn't an aggression reaction, it was a fear reaction. So he wouldn't let anybody near him. So if any one of the other residents were to walk by him, he would, you know what I mean? And what that is, that's what they call, well, what I call a dementia response. Because the worst part of the dementia condition for me is the fear. They're frightened of everything because they don't know where they are. Many of them don't know who they are. And when you put those two things together, it's like, right, what the heck's going on? And it's horrible. I hate dementia with a passion. I really do. So they're taking this guy in. He's surrounded by about 4 or 5 care assistants. He's in the back of one of I take it you guys have worked in care before, yeah? You still?
Yep.
Hospitals mainly.
Yeah.
So you know the recliners, like the Parker Knoll recliners, where the big padded at the side and you can put them right back into
Yeah.
like a lying position, and sometimes not
Proper
supposed to do.
recliner.
Yeah. So they've taken this man in on this one. And I'm thinking, right, okay, so I've done my first couple of songs. My first couple of songs would be, what's going on? And that, I kind of knew what to expect with that. So I'm thinking, I'll keep my distance. I won't go anywhere, I won't get anywhere close. And I'll try and keep my voice volume down, because if that's what's causing him to react that way, then I want to kind of try and keep that as low as possible. And we got to about, I think it was the 4th song in, and I thought, I'm going to give this one a try. Right, so I started off, and it's a very slow, it's a very emotive song. And I'm kind of looking about and stuff like that, and I'm kind of, trying to make eye contact with everybody else apart from this gentleman in this chair, because I didn't want him to respond in any way that was going to negatively affect him. And then I hear this really kind of weird baritone voice, and I'm thinking, where's that coming from? I've been watching other people now; they'd all been joining in. They'd been singing with the previous songs, and I'm trying to think. Well, I know it can't be her. It's so it might be him, but no, I heard him sing, and then all of a sudden it kind of. I looked at one of the care assistants, and she's got tears streaming down her face, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, what's going on here?" And so I thought, I can't stop. I've just got to carry on with the song. And the next, as I get to the end of the second chorus, and it's like. There's 2 or 3 care assistants. One of them's got this kind of jaw drop look in his face, and the other one's actually, he's crying himself. So we've got 2 care assistants crying, and one's got a look of shock in his face. And then I figured it out. It was actually the guy in the chair. He was singing along with me. And I was like, what on earth? Wow, this. Okay, so, and I carried on through, and he continued to join in with me on the songs right to the end of the show. And when I got to the end of the show, I went up at the end of it, and I said to one of the care assistants, I said, look, is the gentleman okay? And she went, yeah, he's okay, but we're not. I went, what do you mean? She said, well, you saw the state of us, didn't you? I was like, yeah. I said, what happened? Did he lash out? She went, no. She said, that was the first time you've ever heard his voice.
Yeah.
The rest of it was all just shouting, screaming, and fear. And hearing him sing for the first time was enough for them to burst into tears. And I just thought, wow, that's the reaction. And it's happened to me every time. I've played multiple gigs in multiple places, and every single time I go in and perform in a nursing home or a care home or a day centre, there is guaranteed going to be one person that I'll make that connection with. And that's the phenomenal part about what I do.
Yeah.
And it's not just me. If you speak to anybody else that does the care home entertainment side of things, they'll tell you exactly the same thing. There will always be one person that you'll be able to connect with. And for those 3 minutes, you can actually be with them where they are. Again, this is going to sound kind of a bit kind of weird, but the way dementia affects people is not linear. So we're sitting here in August 2025. We could be sitting next to a person who suffers from the dementia, which is a side effect from a pre-existing condition. To them, it's not August 20. To them, it could be February 1972. But that's their reality. And what I can do as a performer, and what I can do by singing them a song from 1963, takes them back to 1963 when they first heard it. And for those 3 minutes, they can be safe. They can enjoy the music. They can join in. And they can be the person they were back in 1963 for those 3 minutes. And I get to stand and go and sit next to them and sing with them and just be with them in 1963 for those 3 minutes, however long that song lasts. And that is the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is. I also...
Sorry. Come on.
Carry on,
There
mate.
was one video that I saw of a fella. He's in a care home, and his daughter's. I think she's working now, or she's visiting him, and she goes, "This is my dad's the only person he's blasting out Black Sabbath at midnight." And she walks on the corner, and he's all tatted up, like the Black Sabbath fans you'd expect, the heavy metal fans, like probably like I'm going to look like when I'm older. And she goes, "Dad, it's midnight," and he goes, "Is it?" And she's like, "Yeah, let's turn your music off." He goes, "Yeah, I'm off to bed then." And he just turns it off and he just gets into bed and he goes, "Love you." And it's one of the nicest things ever, but obviously he didn't know what time it were. And the other people that sat there, they're probably not Black Sabbath fans or Ozzy Osbourne fans or whatever. They're like, she's like, "You need to turn your music off. Come on."
Aww.
It's like, yeah, it's definitely got a connection with him, hasn't it? If it sparks something like that. God forbid if it ever happens to, say, myself and stuff like that. It would be Motorhead, Black Sabbath, stuff like that. They'd have to play to me, but I'd have to be in the back because it would be louder than like Motorhead's things. Everything louder than everything else. It's just going to be like, hey, get me up and dancing, and which is very rare for me.
You'll be putting out in the garden, mate.
My sister, I said she works in care. She did they did a outdoor barbecue with the older people's music. And she said she's never seen them so calm. She said there was only 2 kickoffs, 2 people kicking off, but that's because they naturally don't like each other anyway. Like one lady walked past the other one, she went "slut," and then that was it. And she was like, "Right, yeah," but everyone else is up dancing.
We're both matrons in the home. Who knows what happened at that Christmas party?
But yeah, it is. I suppose that would be a really nice thing to see, is them becoming themselves again, what they used to be.
Yeah.
And like you said, there is a lot of research to be done, but not being done. That needs to be pushed for this sort of stuff, because it is sad to see.
I think as far as the research goes, again, I'm not a doctor or anything. I don't ever claim to be that way. I just know what my own experiences of working with people who have the conditions which lead on to dementia. What I've learned over the years, because off and on I've been working in care for about the past 30 odd years, and it's been a phenomenal journey. I hate that word, journey. So you pick up little bits and pieces. Then it's like the one thing that they never ever. Again, there's a whole lot of stuff that people just don't know. People think dementia is a condition on its own, and if you don't work in care, I mean, it's an easy enough thing to try and suppose. Because it's a conclusion you can do. Oh, he's in the home. Well, he's got dementia. He's in the home. Well, okay, so did him having dementia actually lead to him going into the home? No, there's conditions like Parkinson's. There's temporal frontal lobe. There's Alzheimer's. All of these conditions can lead on to. There's vascular. All of these conditions can lead on to form of dementia. So a dementia itself is just like an umbrella name for an entire bunch of conditions inside that particular side effect. You also can complicate that further by everybody's individual dementia is individual to the individual. You're never going to get exactly the same response or exactly the same symptoms from Agnes 3 doors down that you're going to get from Betty just up the road. It's going to affect everybody differently. And this is where I think the research kind of falls flat in its face. Because we're all looking for this magic cure-all that's not going to happen. It's not going to be there. We all know it's to do with a build-up of different proteins. We all know it's they can't quite get managing proteins, and the build-up and the development and all of that side of things is what leads on to the Alzheimer's. It's what leads on to the Parkinson's. It's what leads on to the temporal frontal lobe. and then the dementia is a result of what happens there. I think what they need to do as far as research goes, certainly, I certainly totally agree with you, mate. I think what they need to do is they need to put a heck of a lot more effort into it and a heck of a lot more money into it. But also they need to change their perspective on it. And they need to start looking at the individual. Because as I said, there's no two people with dementia are going to react exactly the same. So it's going to be different for everybody. How can we then, so let's say we've got Betty from 2 doors down, right? Okay, let's have a look. How does her particular condition affect her? How does it present itself?
Mhm.
Can we have a look at that? Can we do an individual evaluation? Then can we take Agnes and do exactly the same for Agnes and actually have an individual? It will cost absolute millions to do it. But what cost and what value do you put on a person's life or quality of life?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, I think if we change the perspective, I think you would see a lot more advances being made.
Yeah.
You'd see a lot more individualised care plans being put forward. I know that the nursing crew and the doctors are doing everything they possibly can. So I'm not talking about, when I said about effort, I'm talking about the effort that comes from the people that make the decisions about how much research can be done.
Mhm.
In other words, the bean counters, the accountants, the one that, actually let's start kind of firing everything we can here into what needs to be done, because there's a lot that goes on as a person. I mean, we're all going to get older.
Mhm.
We're all going to have to go through the processes of aging. As you can see, I'm only 25. I've had a really bad paper round. But as we get older, our bodies change. Compound that with our minds changing.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair. The dementia, as I said, I hate dementia with a passion. To me, it's the slow thief.
Yeah.
It's not fair that there's a condition out there that will gradually take away bits of a person and leave them with nothing. And I think we really need to do more about it. You know what I mean?
There's a couple of girls on TikTok that post about their nans with dementia. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, yeah.
And they are raising awareness for it all. They are amazing. I can't remember the names. I would give them.
I think
Pardon?
one was Jess, wasn't it?
Yes, little Jess.
Jess.
Yeah, little
Yeah,
Jess.
little Jess.
Her nan and the other nan, I can't remember the name. I'm bad at remembering names, you know what I'm like. They are raising awareness for it through making the videos of them. Sometimes they're really wholesome. Sometimes they're hilarious. The nans will just come out something that, which is really funny. And then sometimes you'll see the downside of it and stuff like that. You'll see things like where they're really like down that day about what the position they're in, and they want to get out of bed and they want to go to the park or to the beach and stuff like that. And like you just think like we are in a lucky position to not be like that, and we're also in a position to make sure it does to try to make sure that it doesn't happen to us, because there's got to be a link between what we do now and what happens to us then, because it's growing. There's got to be something that's changed, like from, say, because you look back in the records at Victorian times or even up to ancient Egyptian times. How much did they say my granddad went like this? Well, maybe ancient Egyptians weren't living as long as us, and Victorians weren't living as long as us. Maybe it's that sort of thing. I don't know.
There's more awareness nowadays as well, isn't there?
There's a lot
A
more.
lot more
Yeah.
awareness.
I think there's
Go on, sorry. Yeah, go on, Zornaph.
I think there's also a lot more to do with the lifestyles, because what we're seeing just now, I mean, yes, there is early onset dementia, which again, that's probably, if there can be a worse one, that would be it for me. I think what we're seeing just now is people from the boomer generation, if you like. These were people who were brought up on high protein diets, were brought up on, and they didn't have the knowledge that we have now about, lifestyles and stuff like that, and how we can change. To them, it was just a matter of survival a lot of the time. And there's also things like PTSD, undiagnosed PTSD, that's been allowed to run rampant for decades in some people. And I think that needs to be addressed as well. So I wholeheartedly agree with you, mate. I think you need to take a look at the person as a whole person and actually find out what the root causes are going to be, and then move on from there. and then start bringing all of that out. The very worst case scenario for me, if you do something like that, is maybe the person doesn't get the treatment that they need. You will have reached a new level of understanding with regard to research techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to, again, that's the kind of thing, it's such a kind of dodgy one. But you talking about there's one person I have in mind very in particular now. It's a local care home that I go into, and there's usually I have my backing singers in the front row. There's about 5 of them, and they have an average age of about 302. They're the most amazing ladies in the world, right? I can remember going to one of them. At the end of it, obviously, you do a bit of you got to shake their hands and you have a bit of a chat and say, "Oh, thank you very much for joining in," and all that kind of thing. And I can remember one of them nudging the other, going, "Oh, I tell you what, he's a bit of all right." Okay, so I'm hearing myself. Excuse me, I'm a happily married man. No, actually. And she said, I tell you what, she said, pull the car round the back, keep the engine on, and I'll be out in 5 minutes. And I'm like, my dear lady, I am a happily married man. She went, don't worry about it. I've got dementia. I won't remember either. Did you know I waited out the back of that place for half an hour?
Gonna take a quick break for a minute. I'm gonna stretch my legs. I'm gonna go get a drink and stuff. I'm gonna put a word from our sponsors in.
Today's stream is sponsored by W Energy, a cleaner, crash-free alternative to your usual sugary energy drinks. No sugar, no jitters, just smooth focus and great flavour. Choose from some of their fantastic flavours like Dragonade, Galaxy Grenade and Beach and Peach. Want to try? Use the code GRUMPUS at the checkout for some discounts. That's GRUMPUS. Save money, stay energised, and let's go.
We're back, everybody. Thank you for staying with us. I'm messing up. Once again, I am the Fat Ratman. My 2 co-hosts, Chef and Emmy, are here, and we are joined by Zornaph. We've just had a quick drink. We got all hydrated, and I managed to waddle to the toilet because my back hurts again. Yeah, we were talking about music therapy in care homes for dementia and stuff. What sort of music is it that you yourself love to play to them? What's your favourite ones, your favourite songs, your artists?
Again, it kind of varies because it varies according to the person, but it is mostly stuff from the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
As you can probably tell, I'm not particularly 60s, 70s kind of rock and roll man myself, you know what I mean? Don't know what gave that game away. It's just really stuff that has it can have like a light melody, or it can have, it can have a kind of a deep meaning. It's one of the things that I love Neil Diamond stuff from that time, because everybody thinks, this is one of my, I will die on this hill. Okay, everybody thinks the emos were invented in the 80s and 90s. No, go and have a listen to some of Neil Diamond's earlier stuff. That's all I'm going to say. Just go and have a listen, right? That guy was doing it. Okay. that guy was going in deep. And no, Ben, not that.
Just the look on his face.
Yeah, you can go on, yeah.
But so, I mean, he was, and it's things like that, things that I know that were popular enough to be able to kind of make a connection. I keep going back to this, but it is the connection that matters to me. I think, as I said before, everybody that I know that does what I do, they'll tell you exactly the same thing. It's the connection. It's the fact that you can be with a person for 1 hour per day, and that person's life can be, you can sit with them where they're at, and that's phenomenal for me. And that's, so it is. I mean, it's things like, again, Neil Diamond, I even do stuff from the Suite from the 70s. I found the Mavericks Dance the Night Away was actually quite a surprising one for me.
Mm-hmm.
You see quite a lot of people up and kind of boogieing about. And again, that's...
So do you sing to them?
Yeah.
Is that what you do? You do singing with them?
Yeah. So usually what I'll do is I'll have a computer that's got a whole load of backing tracks on them, and then I'll be like, I'll just, things like Hi Ho Silver and, those kinds of things as well. So songs that they can immediately join in with. And I think that's the most important part, because again, what I say as a performer is if I'm not prepared to get involved with my audience, then I may as well not be in that. They may as well buying a CD. And I get that sometimes especially if you're just starting out doing as a performer, nerves can get the better of you. And believe me, nerves are a big, big thing. There are ones who will just be like, no, I'm not doing it. And you can't kind of set out, you know what I mean? And it's a case of, well, you're there and your audience is just about maybe 2 feet away from you. Just all you got to do is step forward and pick one person in the crowd and just kind of sing to them. It's just and when you do that, you'll notice that other people will join in. The last place that I performed in, there was a lady who was taken in. She was in a wheelchair. She was completely contracted, which meant she was going. It was almost as though she was going back into fetal position. No communication at all. So they wheeled her in, and I've just all of a sudden, I think it was in fact it was Daniel Boone, Beautiful Sunday. And I was saying like Sunday morning up with the, and as I was going through that, I just kind of noticed her head's kind of starting to kind of bob up and down, right? And of course, that could be either one or two things. It could be the fact that I'm maybe stamping the floor too hard and it's bouncing her wheelchair up and down, or it could be that she's enjoying the music. And I immediately thought, right, well, I'll go and kind of test it out. And I just went over and I kind of held her hand. And her hand, she's got like the vice grip because she's got no control over the muscle contraction, right? But again, because of the kind of work I do, I'm used to that kind of thing, right? She's holding on to the hand. And then the next thing I'm hearing just this whisper. And she's singing along with me. So the two of us just stood there, sat there, singing along to this song just ourselves. Now, but I've even got the microphone, I'm kind of holding it up so everybody else can actually hear what her voice is like. And that to me, again, is what it's all about, is by getting people involved. It's people participating and joining in with what I do. I know a lot of other entertainers, that's exactly what they do as well. But I think, as I said before, there's still an element of performers who just, they're there to do that. They're there to be the singer. The audience are there to listen. But you can't do it that way. You can't do it that way at all.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's the best part of it for me. And it's one of the reasons I do the music that I do, because it's an easy sing-along.
And I've heard your streams of you singing and stuff like that. And you're really, really good. I'll give you that. You deserve all the you deserve to go and entertain everyone you can, mate. You deserve all the praise you get for it. Because not only are you one of the most lovely fellas in the world, like you are. When first time Zornaph walked in, I'll bleep that. I'm giving him away now. Zornaph walked in, big biker looking guy. He comes on his trike, massive bike, and he's like, "Oh, hey up, look at this fella." And he's just like, "Hello, oh, hello." And he's into the same music as me, like, the metal, the Motorhead, and everything like that. It's just, you really do. You're like, I can see you being one of the best entertainers there to take it to the personal level of the people. Because you are really good. Like, I love your streams on Twitch because they were mental. I loved them. Like, every little soundbite, and stuff. And you're a natural entertainer. You really are. You deserve to be like, you deserve a lot of publicity and stuff like that, for either just from the care homes and stuff like that, or even more, whatever you wanted to do.
Ben will tell you. Sorry, the Fat Ratman will tell you.
You call me Ben if you want. Everybody knows my name, apparently.
Where we both work, but he still works. I don't know if it's still there, but the VR machine.
Yeah.
The VR ride. Every time I walk by that, now this is no shade at all on the people that were doing because you go into this thing, it was like a big kind of huge kind of boat idea. And the idea was that we all put on the VR headsets and they would go sailing down this river, right? And I remember the first couple of times I went on it, and I was bricking it. I was like, right, what do I do here? Do I press the button? Of course, the ride's going from side to side and stuff like that. First couple of times, I'm like, oh. And they got off and they were kind of thinking, yeah, it was all right, nothing we can do at home and stuff like that. And I thought, you know what? I'll try something different the next time. So the next time, a whole bunch of kids come in and it was I said, so right, are you ready to go on a voyage? Right, jump on, let's go. We'll get the headsets and everything all sorted out. I'm your captain, by the way. Okay, so let's go. And then the next thing, I'm actually screaming at these customers on this VR ride. They're starting to kind of jump about and stuff like that. Okay, Doc, you've got to get under this bridge. And at the end of it, they got off and they looked at me and that was absolutely amazing. I was just like, you know what? I get that sometimes people don't again, nerves can play a huge part on
Yeah.
it, but I'm not the kind of guy, I'm at the age now where I genuinely don't care. You know, I mean, if people have an adverse view of me, fine, they can have it. You know, I mean, I do what I want to do, and I do what I feel like doing. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that was it. It's even, I can remember watching two of the managers just standing there watching me doing their ride one day, and they both looked at each other and shook their heads and walked away. I was like, yeah, I've got it.
That's actually my most hated part of it, because every time I go on it, they go, "Can you do us this? Can you do us a favour?" Fine. You'll get one family on it, and then about another 6 families, and you're stood there for like an hour in the dark, pressing the same button, making sure it's not working for me. And it's like, but I'm a miserable bastard anyway. I'm just like, right, let's get you on, bam, bam, done. See you later. I want to go back and I want to bully my co-workers. I'm just like, this is why we said the other day, this is why I've created Monday Moanings, just so I can have a good old whinge and get it all out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my therapy, and I've dragged my 2 therapists along with me.
So guys, if you're looking for a counsellor, I've just...
We are coming up to the end of the hour for the podcast. Do you have... Yeah, it's 50 minutes now.
Jesus
Oh.
Christ.
I know, Zornaph's got away with it, hasn't he? There's time just flying and stuff. Do you
Yeah,
have
man.
anyone you'd like to give a shout out to that you'd like to see on the podcast in the future?
There is a guy on here called IBG, the Inked Bearded Gardener.
Okay, IBG.
I would love to see him on here now. What this guy does is a fellow Scot, very distinctive, full beard, you know, so just kind of completely shaved head. The guy is an absolute legend. Now, what this guy does is he's a live streamer on TikTok, usually from 10 o'clock at night onwards. His mission on here is to change people's lives through changing their gardens. So every penny that he earns through TikTok, he invests in doing people's gardens for nothing. He's a landscape gardener himself, so that's his business. So if you can't afford it, he'll work with you and kind of, you know, you come to some arrangement. He's also doing, if you go and check out his latest videos, he's doing done a lot of research with a lady called Tink. Tink is a fantastic woman. She suffers from a condition called FND. And it's horrible to see the way that, you know, when the seizures bother, but what they're both doing is they're both really, really trying to raise awareness of this, because I think it's still a relatively newly diagnosed condition. So obviously they kind of want to try and kind of get it out there as much as they can. So yeah, I would love to see him on it again.
Okay, yeah.
Go and check him out for yourselves, guys. You know,
We'll do. Yeah,
Definitely.
we'll check him out. We'll shoot him a message.
I've got one more thing. See this poem I've got here for you. If you've got like a spare
Oh,
10 minutes.
Yes, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, if you'd like
Yeah.
to give us a
Thanks, man.
This again is just a kind of bit of a preamble to this one. This is something that actually came to me as a result of what I see families going through with members who suffer from dementia of some form or other. It's a bit of a deep one. Just kind of, a bit of a trigger warning for you.
And it's been a night of terror dreams, of shadows lost just out of sight, where fear that nothing's as it seems and confusion makes all not quite right. In that time where rest should be, to recover from the laboured day, but exhaustion lifts its head supreme. All hope of rest is torn away. They can't remember or recall what happened through the midnight deep. To have them thrash about in fear and deprive both them and you of sleep. So there they sit, the one that same, who screamed and swore just hours ago, to let them out, to take them home from this dark place they do not know. Yeah, there they sit, serene of face, no memory of what's just transpired. They look to you confused, but there, with eyes awake, but oh so tired. The dreaded dem that steals the mind has hit again and disappeared, leaving naught behind but frailty, and the one you love so dear. You help them wash, you help them dress, and talk to them in soothing tones. You let them know that breakfast's here, and reassure them they're not alone. But what to do as day progresses, from the morning into noon? You're both too tired to take that walk, so just stay in your living room. Boil the kettle, make a brew. Forget the plans you had today. Those plans can wait until tomorrow. There's a precious moment on its way. Go grab a CD or cassette that contains their songs from days gone by. And as the music fills the room, watch as life sparks in their eye. Feel the atmosphere, it changes as memories long hid unfold. Watch as the song they hear transports them back to a time of stories told. Hear the voice, though frail and croaky, join in with the melody of that one song they now remember with heartfelt, joy-filled clarity. Raise your voice and join in. Lift the rafters as you sing, and join them in that space and time where they remember everything. Remembered safe, remembered love, remembered joy with near no fear. It's all laid out right there before you in that precious moment clear. And as you sing and dance around, fatigue and fear all left behind, as you watch the hand you're holding, see it travelling through time. To that place oft times forgotten, in the mists of fractured memories. You get to meet them in that when, and in that precious moment be. Not just who they are, holding hands and singing now, but who they were before you knew them. The precious gift of their when. See, dementia is a coward thief. It takes and leaves afraid aghast. But songs create those special moments, so you can hold them long and fast. As you both meet there, in that moment, two souls connect like they used to do. And in that when you're connected, is where they can truly be with you.
Monday mornings, wake up, let's go. TikTok's buzzing, it's the best show. Laughs and caffeine, that's the vibe. Grumpus growls and we all subscribe. Yeah, we all subscribe.